Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about the subject of agriculture again and the latest development regarding food security. Now at the BRICS summit in Kazan, they decided on the establishment of a BRICS grain exchange. At present, the United States and France exert control over the mechanism of regulating global grains prices. Now, given that the rules were formed about 80 years ago when the global economic landscape was very different, it's understandable why the US and France were at the forefront. However, the BRICS countries have since grown to occupy almost half of the global grains market, and therefore it's logical that they should have a greater say in the rules that govern this market. By the way, when I say grains, I mean all types of grains, from wheat, corn, barley, maize, rice and other types. Now it's time to move away from the current and in many ways unnecessary dependent on Western exchanges. Now at the BRICS summit, the Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed the creation of the grain exchange, and that was accepted and agreed upon, with the possibility of it becoming a fully fledged exchange for the trading of a wide variety of other commodities. Now he believes that the establishment of the BRICS grain exchange will contribute to the formation of a fair grains price on the international stage. It will also serve to safeguard national markets from external interference, speculators and attempts to create artificial food shortages. I mean, historically, market prices for grain are set in dollars at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in the US. And that was because following the Second World War, the United States became the dominant supplier of wheat and corn, which led to the establishment of grain contracts on their exchanges. Now, Europe and Russia, which had been devastated by the war, were unable to compete with the American farmers. Then in the 1980s, wheat began to be traded on the French commodity exchange, the MATIF, with France being the first country to actually offer this type of service. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, SCOBRICSinsight.com, to further develop it. Now, you can do this by making a small donation, which can be done by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now actually for watching, because I do appreciate every viewer. Now, however, the global landscape since then has undergone serious and significant shifts. I mean, the Russian Grain Exporters Union forecasts that with the expansion of the BRICS economies from 2024 onwards, the collective harvest of these countries will reach 1.24 billion tonnes of grain every year, and that represents 44% of global production. It's also estimated that their consumption will be approximately 1.23 billion tonnes, representing 43% of global consumption. Now, the BRICS group initially comprised obviously of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, and then from 1st of January 2024, UEA, Egypt, Iran and Ethiopia joined. Now, the US is among the top 5 countries in terms of grains production, and they're currently in second place with an output of 450 million tonnes. However, the other 4 of the top 5 countries are members of the BRICS group. I mean, China is the largest producer of grains, followed by India in 3rd place, Russia in 4th, and Brazil is in 5th. I mean, these 4 countries collectively produce more grain than the United States by a factor of 3. I mean, France is positioned only at the bottom of the top 10, with a significantly lower production levels than even Brazil. So it would appear to be a fairer proposition if the BRICS countries were to assume the role of market leaders and players in the global grain market. I mean, historically, significant volumes of grain have been traded through European and US ports, with pricing determined accordingly. I mean, prices were set on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and that was beneficial for all parties at the time, as the rules of trade were established, including those pertaining to product supply and financial settlements. However, in the current climate of significant disagreements between key players in the global commodities market, including in terms of payments, developing your own financial infrastructure and payment systems that allow for the creation of an alternative platform. And that's from Ekaterina Novikova, who's a professor of economic theory at the Plenkinov Russian University of Economics. She says, the concept of establishing a grain exchange is certainly viable. By creating more avenues for determining prices free from the malign influence of the Western financial institutions, farmers will be able to gain greater access to profitable sales opportunities. Now, another significant advantage is that within the framework of the Grains and Commodity Exchange is that a common settlement system will be created in which they plan to move away from the dollar, states Natalia Zugorskaya, who's the CEO of a grain supply company called Zemlitsa. Now, Novikova is of the opinion that the new exchange will contribute to the formation of fairer prices, taking into account the interests of all the market participants. Plus, the price can be set for an internal BRICS market at a slight discount to the main market rate, and another for external markets outside of it, and that could benefit places like Africa. Now, she thinks the new exchange will establish fairer prices, taking into consideration all the aspects of it, and particularly, now, it will also enhance the autonomy of the major grain suppliers vis-à-vis the Western bloc of countries. I mean, these countries have the capacity, and have done, to artificially inflate or deflate the price of goods using financial instruments, which can lead to imbalances in the different economies. I mean, don't forget, we've seen this with gas prices on the exchanges, where speculators move in to manipulate prices and create shortages. I mean, the US have employed measures to exert pressure on prices and exert influence over the global grain market. I mean, for example, the US Department of Agriculture may choose to reduce its forecast for the Russian grain harvest, despite there being no compelling justifications for doing that. It's done it before. I mean, in 2021, it made an arbitrary reduction of 12.5 million tonnes of grain production in its forecast for the Russian harvest. Now, that resulted in an immediate surge in global wheat prices, in the Black Sea ports particularly, rising by $20 a tonne. Now, the United States has the option of creating an artificial grain deficit on the world market just through a sharp increase in prices, which could result in food insecurity in the developing countries and a reduction in export revenue for Russia. So, I mean, what potential consequences are there for a global grain price growth? Well, a market imbalance with prices in Russia is created when exports go up. I mean, the two outcomes, either domestic prices rise or exporters will export all their grain, which will create a physical deficit in the domestic market, and the Russian government ain't going to wear that. Now, in such instances, the relevant authorities implement a ban, and that's been done before. Now, that approach allows Russia to maintain domestic prices and consumption levels while looking at any particular crisis, although these do result in a loss of revenue from grain exports, which is a significant contributor to the budget. I mean, for example, the budget it gets from grain and oilseeds in 2024 is 215 billion rubles, which is about $3 billion. So that's not chicken feed, is it? It's also important to consider the impact of financial sanctions on trade, including grain. I mean, we've seen this already in the Baltic ports, where they stopped the grain going to African countries, and the sanctions of specific country make this problematic. In practice, the new exchange will exclude cash-settled food futures contracts from its trading to avoid the speculators, and it will allow only BRICS participants to trade on this platform. So, for example, when Russia has a poor harvest, it will be able to supply goods from its reserves to the exchange, and with a record harvest, reverse the situation and increase its own reserves to stabilise grain prices on the BRICS exchange. However, the key issues to be addressed are the problems with the cross-border money transfers and the logistics and insurance of deliveries, says Vladimir Chernov, who's an analyst at Freedom Finance. However, that said, I'm confident that the BRICS exchange will exceed $1 trillion in the future, given the potential expansion of the list of commodities that could be trading on it. I mean, it's going to establish one of the world's largest agricultural marketplaces and be a significant contributor to the strengthening of the association's influence in the world of global food security. I mean, current benchmark indicators reflecting the changes are formed on the basis of Chicago, and that just cannot continue because it allows the US to maintain a dominant position in the market, which is no longer justified. This new situation, which is evolving, will allow the BRICS members to take a pivotal role in the global food market and ensure global food security. Now, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please share. If you want to help me out, please click on the thanks button and make a small donation. Don't forget the comment section. Love to read your comments and love to respond to your comments. So keep them coming, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.